bridge. Now, I just wanted to explain what happened here because I was able to get most of the background about this guitar. This guitar was used extensively on tour in the 70s and 80s with like a pretty high profile act. The guitarist then gave it to a friend of mine who I ended up buying it from. I knew that it needed this work, but I saw like long-term, gains here. I play professionally and wanted to invest my time and a little bit of money into this. So let me explain the history here. First of all, it's made at the factory and it has a bad neck pocket or neck joint. I don't know if the guitarist who had it on tour was the original owner of it, but at some point he was using it extensively. From the factory, it would have came with like a Bigsby B6, so no tension bar, but it was a Guild Bigsby, no tension bar on it. In '66, they changed and the joint went to the 18th fret. This has a joint at the 16th fret. So it would have used the Bigsby without a tension bar, and then starting in '66, it went to the 18th fret, and then they would have had a B7. But this one came from the factory with a B6. At some point, it went on the road, and the neck started to tilt forward because of this here. So this bridge no longer had a nice sharp break angle, and I'm guessing that he then put on a B7 because there were screw holes in the face of the guitar that aligned with a Bigsby B7. And so at some point then, I don't know if this was causing more issues or he just was looking for tuning stability, which actually tuning stability could have been caused by this failing neck joint, but he put on a stop tailpiece. And I patched those holes, and I'll show you a picture of those holes, but look at this stop tailpiece that was on it. I don't know if you can tell. Put it right in the center here. This thing is pulled towards the neck. I don't know if he was using heavy strings. I don't know if he was tuning up, but this failed at some point too. And actually, if you look at the bridge here, the bridge too is relatively flat. You can see that there's no radius here. I'm guessing he had heavy strings that were tuned at pitch or maybe like up to F, and they just sat on the guitar. But this is a lot of tension for these two things to fail like this. And I've seen it before, but that's a lot of tension. And so when I got the guitar, this is what it had on there. It had a really poorly made or poorly designed stop tail piece that kind of looked like it was done in someone's garage. And I had this newer Guildsby B7 with the tension bar laying around, so I threw it on there. Went right in the holes that were already on the face of the guitar. But in the case, I had the original Guildsby B6, and I wanted to put it back on. So what happened was this neck joint failed, and this neck started coming forward like this, and then we lost that nice break angle at the bridge, and so then they would have put a tension bar on that would bring those strings under the bar like that. And then at some point they just put a stop tail piece on, and then they cranked it all the way down. So when those strings came across the bridge with that stop tail piece, they were like this. Also, the stop tail piece was pretty close to the bridge, which could contribute to why it was flexing forward so much. There's just a lot of tension on it. And so here's like a side profile. This is about the 2.3 millimeter gap, and all that glue settled down here. And so what was happening was over time that this was just getting pulled forward like this and compressing this glue at the top. And so then the strings, just started coming higher and higher and higher off the body. And then kind of looking down, like if you're looking down at the neck, this is what I was trying to show in the picture. There's just these voids on the sides too. So really like your point of contact was here and a little bit up here. But I reshaped that joint, and I got it all glued together, and I was able to get the original Guildsby, or the Bigsby that's stamped with Guild, the B6 on there, so no tension bar. And I did some other work. I did some binding work. I put on a Veritone, like a Gibson style Veritone, but slightly modified. When I got the guitar, the bridge pickup cover was missing. Very common on these Guilds. These mini humbuckers can be somewhat dark or fat, and so they would take the pickup covers off And here's the neck one, actually. They would take them off to make them a little bit brighter, and I just found that the neck pickup was almost unusable. I threw a 0.47, actually it was a 0.047 microfarad capacitor on that pickup lead. It did lose a little bit of the bass, kind of tightened it up just a little bit, but it's still like a very like full sounding pickup. So put the Veritone in there and it became much more usable. I'll do some demos of that as well. I'll show some pictures of the binding work that I did, and then I kind of touched up some spots. I also filled the holes from the original, or not, the previous owner's stop tailpiece, and I'll show a picture of that too, and I'll do a demo.